Let's talk about resource guarding. So, resource guarding is just when a dog gets possessive over something. It could be food, toys, bones, people, objects, different food for a cat, like you'll see in this dog. Um, so, in this clip, we have a dog that does show some signs of this, takes toys, takes food, gets a little possessive over these things. And the way to really attack this is you have to have massive amount of leadership and structure in the home. So that's a discussion for a different video, but we're going to kind of touch on that a little bit. So other than providing a massive amount of structure for a dog, you taking the leadership role, saying what's what, let's talk about a couple slide examples and we'll talk about the video. First, when it comes to toys, when it comes to food, different things like that, they have to be away. When we're talking about toys, so the toy comes out, you play with it, and then it goes away. There's none of this just, oh yeah, we have some toys out. You can take a toy out for an extended period of time, but it has to go away. And so that takes away the ability for a dog to be possessive over something like a toy. And to that point, whether it's shoes, socks, whatever, we have to do our best to avoid this even happening. Because you have to think of things in terms of a dog, right? A dog, if it's allowed to do it, that means it's okay, plain and simple. So if it's allowed, the dog thinks, oh, I can do that. And then since they are creatures of habit, it just happens more and more often and gets more and more ingrained in their head. So we have to first of all cut it off. All right. Then we got to establish some boundaries with the toys and things like food. So you'll see in this clip, the dog, your dog should really only get fed from your hand or from a bowl. That makes it clear. That makes the boundary clear. So if there's just a piece of food on the ground, if there's the cat's food, like this, I know this dog had an issue with the cat's food. It's not yours. It's mine. And so those are some of those big leadership pieces and boundary pieces that really need to be addressed when you're talking about resource guarding. And we can go into a lot more detail, but those are some of the basics. So to kind of help reinforce this behavior, we have some ham from the fridge, just sliced ham. And normally if food was on the ground, the dog could get very possessive. Or just want to go after it in general. So this just is a good exercise to set that boundary. So I have the same ham in my hand as it is that is on the ground, and I'm just going to walk around with the dog on a leash. I'm not going to let it approach the ham if it does. We'll say no, give a little correction or whatever, but basically we just want the dog to pay attention to us. If it chooses to pay attention to us, I'm going to reward it with the same ham so the dog can understand the boundary. Oh, it's not the ham that's off limits, it's when and how I get the food. If I get the food from a person, it's okay. If I get the food from my bowl, it's okay, but everything else is off limits. Structure and leadership pieces throughout the day, you guys are going to be bold, right? But one thing we can do is, this is the same thing. This ham is that ham. We're not going to let her get that ham, but if she's good and she pays attention to us, she'll get the ham from my hand. It's good. And this is actually awesome, right? She went for it when we brought it out. Come here. Yes. Yes. Good. She walked right around it, pays attention to us. Yes. Yes.